Hello, wonderful people. I'm back with Project Share. So I mentioned that I was going to be going to a Crazy Quilt retreat in July, and there's a sale table at the Crazy Quilt retreat, so a lot of us bring things that we make to sell, and some people bring just like, things that they've destashed or whatever. So I usually try to make up a couple of beaded items to take. I already did a video on one of them. So as many of you know, I just packed up my entire craft room and then ended up not moving and had to unpack the whole thing. And so I've been away from YouTube for about a month, and just now I was in a panic because I wanted to get some stuff made for this retreat that's coming up, and I've got, like 4 weeks. So I got everything out. So the first thing I'm going to show you is this one. This is actually a button here in the middle, right there. This is what it looked like before I bezeled it, and this is what it looks like after. So how this works with the buttons is that, okay, so I removed the shank off the back, and if you have a button that's not a shank button, that's even better. So I removed the shank off the back, and then I glue it onto a piece of lacy stiffy stuff, which is this right here. Now, you don't have to use lacy stiffy stuff, it's just that I have so much of it that I haven't had to buy anything else, but you can hear how you could easily use like a really thick Pellon also. So it needs to be something that's sturdy, but I don't know if you can tell, but is porous, so your needle will go in and out of it really easily. So you glue this on, and you cut it off whatever shape you want it to be in, and then you bezel around it. So I usually bezel with size 11 delicas the first couple rows. I do one row down. I usually do 2 to 4 beads at a time, and then I step up and do peyote stitch around it. And then I almost always, when I do these, I almost always end with either a whole row or half a row of size 15s here, because that pulls it closed. Because otherwise, you'll have all these gaps in here because you're just sort of making a big tube. So unless you close it by using smaller beads, you'll just end up with a big tube. So I usually almost always end with 15s. So, and then, so on the back here I just have felt because these are going to be embellishments. But if I'm actually making a piece that is for sure going to be jewelry, I usually finish it with what they call ultra suede, which is just like it's like a faux leather, and it's really, really soft and malleable. So anyway, so then after I bezeled all around, then I did this little frilly thing here around it. So I've done a couple of buttons. They're a ton of fun. I did an antique button that I still have. Actually, nobody bought it, so I should probably maybe do a video on that one. And then this was, I bought this cab from an Etsy shop, and it's polymer clay, and I just love the whole sort of Native American, I don't know, totem animal theme kind of thing, so you've got feathers down here and clearly feathers here. So I decided I would do it in typical Southwest American colors, which is sort of turquoise and bronze or turquoise and gold, that kind of thing. So the first thing I did was I glued some leaves in between the cab and the stiffy stuff, and you can see the glue kind of came through. So hopefully this will be sewed onto something so nobody will be able to see that. But anyway, so these are metal, and I glued those in there so that they would kind of look like feathers. And but anyway, so I bezeled around it with delicas, and then I had some 11s that were just tinier that was able to pull it together. And then I just did the fringe with some beads with that were the same color, and some leaf beads, and some turquoise daggers, and that kind of thing. So it's kind of out of my wheelhouse. I don't usually do a whole lot of like spirit animal kind of things, but somebody might like it, and I really liked it. I thought it turned out pretty cool. So the third one, this was actually like it was on a huge pin, so like a clasp for a shawl or something like that. And so it was this pin, it was the cameo, and it was this row right here. And so I put it on the lacy stiffy stuff and just embellished the heck out of it. So this this trim I got from, it was in a stash of stuff that my daughter gave me, which I did a separate video on, which will probably go up after this one. So anyway, I glued that in between. So this is some of that ultra suede. Now I did not do the finishing edge around this because of this stuff, and I figure, you know, you don't have to do the finishing edge. And what I mean by that is, see that finished row of beads there? You don't have to do that, especially if it's not going to be worn, you know. So I used some crystal daggers and drop beads and pretty flowers, and I actually really love the color of it, like this sort of ecru gunmetal. I just thought it was really nice. So once again, these can be used for brooches. You can put a pin on the back of them and wear them as a brooch, or you can hang them, like you can put a bail on the back of them and hang them as a necklace. You can use them on like a boho bag, or an embellishment on a purse, or you know, whatever. This one would be okay on a crazy quilt because it's very light. It's not a heavy button at all. This one is a little heavier, and you probably wouldn't want to put it just on a big old quilt because it's so heavy it'll pull and kind of make the quilt buckle. But if it was a smaller piece, like just a one block wall hanging or something like that, it would be absolutely perfect. This one too is not really all that heavy, so you probably actually could get by with putting this on a piece, on a crazy quilt. The other thing that they would be good for is the front focal point of a fabric book, or a fabric journal, or a lace book, or something like that. So this would make a good one for a gypsy book. This would be good for your more traditional kind of white lacy books, you know. So anyway, the great thing about these is that if they don't sell, I'll use them. So anyway, they're going with me to the Crazy Quilt Retreat. I hope everybody's having a great summer, and I will see you guys later.